It's that time of the week again. Thank you for tuning in to this brand new Round 2 Wrestling podcast here on the 23rd of November, 2022. It is the day before Thanksgiving, and we have a brand new podcast here for you, the fans, to enjoy. We have a lot of things to talk about, and especially a lot of title matches to go over. Two different promotions here in the United States had pay-per-views this past weekend. AEW and Impact Wrestling put on quite a show for those who bought in to those specific pay-per-views. Here on Round 2 Wrestling, we have those exclusive results. Who won and who retained those titles, and who you can look forward to seeing in other matches. So, we are going to kick things off here on Round 2 Wrestling by taking a listen to the rumor mill. Alright, let's kick things off. Inside the Ropes announces former British pro wrestling promotion World of Sport is looking to relaunch with Nick Aldis and Mickie James as their front runners. For those of you who are unaware, Great Britain has its own brand of professional wrestling, and no, I'm not talking about NXT UK, which is an Americanized version of pro wrestling, but back in the 70s and early 80s, a once-in-a-lifetime promotion was born in England and was dubbed World of Sport. This was because it was sandwiched in between actual sport in England, being it soccer, rugby, snooker, whatever. So the audience was given this fake sport, if you want to call it that, but it was being promoted and advertised as something real. And pro wrestling in Britain had rules. There were standards. There were more than one fall, and the crowds were quiet. It wasn't until the mid to late 80s that the Americanized version of pro wrestling started to really catch on, and that catch as catch can style of wrestling that made World of Sport so unique and so entertaining in my eyes sort of went by the wayside. So this is very, very exciting to hear, even though it's just a rumor. Hopefully this turns into something more factual and we get to see a return to this sport of pro wrestling in the British Isles. Fightful Select says its WWE sources have not heard much from Vince McMahon since his resignation earlier this year. This is nothing to be alarmed about. Vince McMahon had to be released with his tail between his legs. And we also have to remember, this is a 75-year-old man, possibly older. Let's just leave him alone, all right? He was on TV and was in the spotlight for decades. He left in a way that probably wasn't what he wanted, so just let him be. Let the guy be. Let him enjoy his money and his time and relish in what he did to help promote this sport that we all enjoy. The 9 Lives of Vince McMahon, speaking of Vince McMahon, is a documentary that will air on Vice TV Tuesday, December 19th, and this news or rumor comes from Brian Alvarez. Per Fightful Select, Detroit, Michigan is the front runner to host WWE SummerSlam 2023. I like it when any sort of pay-per-view or any sort of major wrestling promotion stops by the great state of Michigan. Hopefully this rumor turns out to be true and Detroit will host a large WWE event next summer. Dave Meltzer reports the Elite will use Kansas's Carry On Wayward Son song for their entrance theme, but only in trios matches. So if you are looking for the Young Bucks to use Carry On Wayward Son, it's not going to happen. And that also means Kenny Omega will not be using this when he has a singles match. It's only when the Elite will be together. WWE has verbally committed to Nashville, Tennessee, hosting the 2027 WrestleMania event. This would be WrestleMania 43. So long as the new Tennessee Titans NFL stadium is finished in time, and this particular rumor comes from the Tennessean. Former UFC champion Cain Velasquez will be allowed to wrestle at AAA Mexico in Tempe, Arizona, per judicial order. Velasquez must pay for a law official to accompany him at all times. His GPS tracker will be removed temporarily, but will be replaced on him because Velasquez is on a $1 million bond for an attempted murder charge stemming from a February incident earlier this year. All right, that is the conclusion of the rumor mill. A good number of things to think about, and whether or not they will be true, only time will tell. And that is a favorite saying here on Round 2 Wrestling. So enough of the rumor mill. Let's jump over into something more factual. This is pro wrestling news. AEW's Darby Allin has been added to Giant Muda's final tag match with fellow AEW wrestler and icon Sting. The match will take place Sunday, January 22nd in Yokohama, Japan at the Yokohama Dome. Ring of Honor's next pay-per-view, Ring of Honor Final Battle, will take place in the afternoon, 4 p.m., as opposed to the evening. This is due in part to a weak college football schedule that weekend, and Ring of Honor and AEW feel they can have great success by advertising and debuting an afternoon pay-per-view. AEW's Kenny Omega to return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Omega openly challenged the IWGP US Champion Will Ospreay to a match at Wrestle Kingdom 17, January 4th, 2023. Champion Will Ospreay promptly accepted the challenge, and we are in for a treat at Wrestle Kingdom 17. Excuse me. New Japan Pro Wrestling crowned its first ever IWGP Women's Champion. Kairi was victorious, defeating Mayu Iwatani in Sunday's New Japan Pro Wrestling / Stardom pay-per-view crossover. Major League Wrestling, that is MLW, officially signs a new tag team to its promotion. The Billington Bulldogs are now with MLW officially. According to Wrestling Observer Newsletter, MLW is looking to partner with Mexican wrestling promotion CMLL. This would end the relationship between MLW and AAA Mexico, as CMLL and AAA Mexico have an incredibly heated rivalry and refuse/won't work together. All right, that is the conclusion of the news circulating in the world of professional wrestling. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, our title match section of Round 2 Wrestling is going to be quite lengthy. Again, two major promotions here in the United States, All Elite Wrestling and Impact Wrestling, both had big pay-per-views this past weekend where multiple titles were on the line. Other promotions also had several title matches, and we here at Round 2 Wrestling are very proud to give you the results from every single one of those title matches. So here we go on Round 2 Wrestling. Here are the title matches from the past week. All right, kicking things off, NXT Tag Team Champions Pretty Deadly defeated Chase U to retain the NXT Tag Team titles. NXT North American Champion Wes Lee defeated Carmelo Hayes to retain the NXT North American Championship. AEW World Trios Champions Death Triangle defeated AR Fox and Top Flight to retain the AEW Trios titles. FTW Champion Hook defeated Lee Moriarty to retain the FTW Championship. AEW World Trios Champions Death Triangle defeated The Elite to retain the AEW Trio titles at the pay-per-view this past Saturday. TBS Champion Jade Cargill defeated Nyla Rose to retain the TBS Championship and get her physical title back from Miss Rose. Ring of Honor World Champion Chris Jericho defeated Sammy Guevara, Claudio Castagnoli, and Bryan Danielson to retain the Ring of Honor World Championship. Ring of Honor TV Champion Samoa Joe defeated Powerhouse Will Hobbs and TNT Champion Wardlow to become the new AEW TNT Champion. Jamie Hayter defeated AEW Interim World Champion Toni Storm to become the new AEW Interim World Champion. AEW Tag Team Champions The Acclaim defeated Swerve and Our Glory to retain the AEW Tag Team titles. MJF defeated AEW World Champion Jon Moxley to become the new AEW World Champion. Impact Knockout Tag Team Champions The Death Dolls defeated Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans to retain the Knockouts Tag Team titles at the Impact pay-per-view this past Saturday. Impact Tag Team Champions Heath and Rhino defeated the Major Players to retain the Impact Tag Team titles. Trey Miguel defeated Black Taurus to win the vacated X Division Impact Championship. Impact Women's World Champion Jordynne Grace defeated Masha Slamovich to retain the Impact Women's World Championship. Impact World Champion Josh Alexander defeated Frankie Kazarian to retain the Impact World Championship. Davey Richards defeated MLW National Openweight Champion Alex Kane to become the new MLW National Openweight Champion. NWA US Tag Team Champions The Fixers defeated the Country Gentlemen to retain the NWA US Tag Team titles. Wildcat Sports Champion Chuck Divine defeated Nathan Bradley to retain the Wildcat Sports Championship. NWA Women's World Champion Camille defeated Jasmine Allure to retain the NWA Women's Championship. Alright, that is the conclusion of Round 2 Wrestling. Usually we conclude our episode with a brand new fan favorite, Did You Know Wrestling Facts. However, because of the plethora of title matches that took place in the past week and weekend, we decided to forego that section of Round 2 Wrestling. Tune in next week for an extended version of that so you can catch up on all of those pro wrestling facts that you may or may not have known about. Once again, I am SlimmDa KID, and I personally want to thank you, the fan, for tuning in to this brand new episode of Round 2 Wrestling. I also want to wish everybody around the world a very happy Thanksgiving, and that you are healthy and well in your lives in whatever it is you are doing. Once again, I am SlimmDa KID. Thank you for tuning into this brand new podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for a brand new Round 2 Wrestling, where I will bring you more news, more rumors, and more results from the world of professional wrestling. Round 2 Wrestling is brought to you by SlimmDa KID and Spreaker.com.